really is true that they are fantastic at customer service. So real world feedback there, people. One of the problems you may face as a practitioner is the prevalence of no-shows and late cancellations. So they've made it super easy with a few tools to deal with that. It includes the ability to implement an online booking payment policy, send out unlimited text and email reminders, and enabling a waitlist management feature to fill those last-minute gaps that weren't preventable, because that happens. You can see Jane in action at jane.app. And if you are ready to give it a try, you can enter MBB1MO at sign up for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Massage Business Blueprint Podcast, where we help you attract more clients, make more money, and improve your quality of life. I'm Michael Reynolds.
I'm Melissa Haynes.
We're your host today. Welcome to today's show, episode 454. Alyssa, what are you reading?
I'm reading some fiction, and last night I finished a delightful, no, it wasn't delightful. It was beautiful, little brutal sometimes, book called The Love Story of 𝗪𝗔 𝗪𝗂𝗧 by Beth Morrey. And fiction about this older woman, a senior citizen, and it's a little retrospective on her life, but it's also about current events and her finding a group of friends in her loneliness. And it's funny because like the last quarter of the book is like all of these surprise twists that you're like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. And it's enough to keep you going, but not so much that you're like, what does she keep talking about? Like, you know, like when books kind of foreshadow like some big secret or something. It was just really good. I read it over like 4 or 5 nights, like, you know, half an hour reading before bed. And I stayed up way too late on Sunday night reading until I finally like fell asleep with the Kindle falling on my face. It was just a really good book. And I want people to know that. The Love Story of 𝗪𝗔 𝗪𝗂𝗧 by Beth Morrey.
I have got to get back into reading like fun fiction books. I've gotten out of the habit of reading like stories. I read so much, nonfiction and dry businessy stuff. So thanks for continuing to remind me that I need to add some excitement to my reading schedule.
Yeah, it's tough because I have like a little bit of like an addiction problem with it. Like when I start reading something, if I'm like under a lot of stress in general, I can find that I get a little obsessive about reading fiction and it starts to like interrupt my daily routine and I use it to kind of disassociate, which is not particularly healthy. But my rule nowadays is that I can't read fiction until after dark. So like, second half of the day, nowadays it gets dark at like 3:30. So that's not too much of a boundary. But that is working for me because I do have a lot of things like nonfiction that I read for business. I'm also like, I talked about this. I'm in the middle of Everybody Writes by Ann Handley, which is just a book about how to write better. And I've been reading a bunch of online stuff about how to write better. And at some point I'll take a darn class. But yeah, fiction after dark, my friend.
I see. I'm like that with video games. If I let myself get into a certain video game too much, like it just kind of consumes me. So I think May is when Zelda Tears of the Kingdom come out. So I'm going to have to, you might want to check on me over the summer. Make sure I'm still like getting things done that I need to get done.
See, that for me is a hard boundary. I don't play video games because it will take over my entire life. So like, I just have to, I cannot do it. I cannot moderate myself and not like all video games, but certain ones like, so I just simply don't play them. And my grandson, who's 4, was over the house last week and he was like, Meme, where are your video games? I was like, Meme doesn't have video games. And he was completely astounded that I had no game system at all and that my phone didn't have games on it. Meme, what do you do for fun? And so, yeah, we played out in the backyard. So yeah, I can't do it at all.
Nice. I feel you. All right. So before we move on, we should probably give a shout out to our next sponsor, our friends at the Original Jojoba Company.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I was actually almost late coming to this airing slash recording because I was on the jojoba website because I need to get a gift for. We just found out a neighbor down the street is like having a baby next month or this month, and like we didn't. She wasn't even showing because we haven't seen her in 6 months, like without like a winter coat on. So anyhow, I was like, what am I gonna put in this new mama basket? And I'm gonna get her an 8 ounce of the 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝐻𝗂 jojoba from the original jojoba company. It's a good gift. Anyhow, I love jojoba. I use it because it doesn't go rancid, and also because it's non-allergenic, so I can use it on every client without worrying about an allergic reaction. That means my senior citizens with really sensitive and fragile skin. It means my pregnancy massage clients. It means my oncology massage clients who might have compromised skin from radiation. I can use it on everyone, and it doesn't stain my 100% cotton sheets. So that's why I use jojoba. And, hey, makes a great gift for new moms. You can get 20% off the price of the product when you shop through our link, massagebusinessblueprint.com/jojoba.
All right, today's going to be fun because you're speaking to students, I believe, which
Yeah.
is always great.
Yeah, this is some stuff I originally put together for students when there was a massage instructor who was like, I need two things. And one of them is about like communication skills and professionalism. And uh, yeah, and it's like, listen, I say this is for massage students, but frankly, we could all use at least one of these tips as a refresher because it's things that we all do. So yeah, so when you get out of massage school, you kind of become a spokesperson for massage therapy, whether you like it or not. And you incidentally become a spokesperson for all kinds of massage therapy and all kinds of massage therapists. And this is true even if you don't want to be such a spokesperson, but you become an ambassador for massage, like it or not. So anytime you tell somebody that you are a massage therapist, whatever you do next is representative of the profession in a lot of ways. And this is a big responsibility, like how you conduct yourselves and talk about massage with your family and your friends and potential referral partners and health professionals. It matters. So here are some tips for keeping yourself in check so you can be a really good, positive, healthy ambassador for massage. So, one, remember your manners. And anytime that you are communicating about massage, keep in mind that phone calls and emails to other massage therapists and health and wellness professionals and clients and referral partners are not the same as texts with your friends. So, you want to use full words and not funny abbreviations. You want to, emojis are fine, gifs are fine, but uh, use them in moderation and with an air of professionalism. Like, so in those communication styles, make sure that you sound like a grown up who is trustworthy enough to touch someone's body. Also, remember when you're communicating with other people about massage that location and privacy are really important. So you don't want to take a business call in the middle of the grocery store and have the entire aisle hear about you doing intake for a client who's coming to see you for sciatica. That is, you want to be real mindful of privacy and the words you choose and the verbiage that you use in that you want to use full words and not sound like a 12-year-old who is just starting to text. Okay. Resist the excitement of thinking that massage can fix everything and anything. Like, this is exciting. You get into massage school and you're like, massage can help with headaches. Oh my gosh, massage can help with hamstring pain. Oh my gosh, massage can help improve an athlete's performance. Yay! But a lot of this stuff is stuff people say that may not have a lot of credible backup. And yes, I know that massage can help my clients XYZ. But if I can't back that up, and if I don't have the knowledge to evaluate information to decide if I can credibly back that up, be thoughtful about what you say. So if someone's like, hey, can massage help my indigestion? The best go-to answers are maybe, sometimes, in some cases, and then you continue on. So you want to answer in a way that welcomes a lot of context to the conversation, because the reality is that the answer to most of these questions are, it depends. So an example, if someone says, is massage good for my rotator cuff injury? You can say something like, massage can be helpful in managing pain when you're recovering from a rotator cuff injury, but it's not always a total solution if there are tears or problems in the joint. Have you seen your doctor or physical therapist about it? What did they say? So you got to be like honest and pragmatic. You don't want to promise that massage can do anything. And you want to bring in that context. So you're setting realistic expectations about what massage can actually do, because you don't want to be like, yeah, it can help, and then have someone come to see you and then feel swindled because you can't help them. You don't want them to think that massage is useless altogether for everything just because you were incorrect about it being able to help them. So there's that. The next one is probably the biggest one. Don't pretend to know what you don't know. We will get a lot more respect from colleagues and clients when we are honest about our knowledge. So if a client brings up a health issue or a medication that you are not familiar with, don't just nod along and pretend. And, as soon as you get them on the table, you run into the next room and you try to look it up real fast. Don't do that. Just say what you don't know. And then the client or the practitioner or whoever you're dealing with can help educate you. And if you ask great questions, that will garner you so much more respect and trust than pretending you know something that you don't. So, some examples of this. And like, these examples are pulled from like me actually doing this and learning how to do this versus pretending I know something and then trying to look it up real quick and having the client have to wait 10 minutes on the table for me when I could have just said, I see that you're taking a medication called moxifloxacin. I don't know what that is. I have not heard that before. What are you taking it for? And then they're going to tell you, and it's an antibiotic. And then you're going to be like, okay, well, what are you taking the antibiotic for? And then you're going to know how to adjust the massage to be safe. It's okay to say things like, I have never treated a client with MS. Can I do a little bit of research and then call you the day before your appointment so I can ask you some informed questions? That's great. People are going to appreciate that. You're going to take the time to look that up, and you're going to give them a call, and you're going to ask them questions like, how is your mobility? Are you concerned about getting on or off the table? Is there anything regarding heat or cold that you are especially sensitive to? They are going to love that you took the time to educate yourself so that you can give them the best massage and the safest massage. That is huge. That is some amazing customer service. And if you are presented with something that even after talking to them, you need to look something up, that's okay too. You give them all the instructions and you say, take your time getting cozy on the massage table. I might be another minute because I want to look this up after I wash my hands and then come back in for the massage. They appreciate that honesty, and it'll garner you a lot of trust. All right, don't want to beat that one too hard. Keep it clear. If you need to communicate with another provider, be clear and succinct. Be ready with your questions. This is probably a really good time to mention that we have a whole ebook that is how to communicate with other healthcare providers, and very specifically how to teach your clients how to talk to their healthcare providers to get you the information you need to get safe massage. And that's at massagebusinessblueprint.com/HCP, I think, for healthcare providers. It is important when you are talking to a provider or teaching a client how to, you don't assume that the provider knows what massage is because they've never had your massage, and there's a lot of different kinds of massage, right? So you want to say something like, I know that my client is being treated for peripheral neuropathy. If I massage his legs and feet with light pressure, like about the weight of my hand, do you feel like that's safe for this condition? Or something like, I know that my client is mostly sedentary. Do you have any concerns about his body's ability to tolerate massage or about his cardiovascular system being challenged by a massage? You don't need to know like the in-depth physiology and pathology of every single issue your client's going to walk in with. You need to know how your massage needs to be adapted to be safe. You need to know how their body's going to be challenged in other ways. So when you phrase questions that way, you'll get better answers from providers or better answers through clients that their providers have given them. That was a mixed up sentence, but we're going to roll with it. All right. Finally, stay in your scope of practice. And it doesn't matter who you're talking to. If you're talking to a client or anyone, instead of saying something like, yeah, that sounds like a rotator cuff tear, when a client's like, I can't move my arm this way, you say, if that's bothering you, you can probably talk to your GP about that, and they can get you to the right physical therapist or orthopedist for a good evaluation. There are times when clients, you will find that clients are not getting great answers from their practitioners, and you may give them information to help them advocate for themselves. So you could say something like, those symptoms sound consistent with a few different rotator cuff issues. Ask your GP straight out if you can be evaluated for XYZ. And you can do that in a way that teaches the client to advocate without stepping out of your scope of practice. So instead of saying something like, this freckle is changing, you say something like, have you noticed that this is a really dark freckle? And do you have someone keeping an eye on it for you? I'd probably ask your doctor at your next visit. This is really, really hard, and it can be easy to accidentally give advice outside of your scope, especially when you like develop a rapport with clients and you've known them a long time and you've seen them through various health issues. You're going to slip. I slip left and right on this. And it's okay to backtrack and say, you know what, I really should not have suggested that you have a rotator cuff injury. That's not my scope, and I'm not qualified to assess that. But here's what I would ask your GP. And clients and providers are going to appreciate your caution and your humility with this. Again, it makes you more trustworthy because they know that you're not going to overstep your boundaries and end up hurting them. This gets a lot easier with more practice. You'll get better at it, and you'll become a really good communicator with your clients. And that's what I have to say, relevant to students and to all of us.
Excellent advice. I love when you talk to students.
I love
You're so good at it.
talking to students. Like, it is just my favoriteest thing to work with people who are just getting out of massage school and figuring out what they want to do and jumping into it. Like, it's great.
I agree. All right.
What's
Well,
next?
our last sponsor of the day is our friends at ABMP.
Oh, and you know what? ABMP has so many resources for all massage therapists, but for students and very new massage therapists as well. What do we want to talk about? Let's talk about the apps because they're relevant to our topic today. When you need to find information super quick or refresh your brain on something before a client comes in with a particular issue, they've got the apps for that. There is the 5-Minute Muscle app and the Pocket Pathology app. Quick reference apps designed to help you quickly find information that you need to make decisions for safe session planning. 5-Minute Muscles includes muscle-specific techniques and palpation videos. I used these last week for 83 muscles most often addressed by professional MTs. The pathology app is super helpful. You can like plug in MS and get some help with that. Progressive web app technology that will take up less space on your phone or device, which is super helpful. And these are available free with ABMP membership. And if you want to test it out, you can go to abmp.com/apps, APPS, and do a little demo to see if it's worth your time. And it absolutely is.
Right on. Thanks, ABMP. All right. Do you have any quick tips today?
I got nothing.
All right. I got a thing. So this is more of a thing I've just been kind of noodling on, and take what you will with it. But I'm trying to reduce the use of violent phrasing a little more. And there's some nuance here. So I saw this on Twitter, and I linked in the show notes to the Twitter post that has an image. And it was interesting. So there's a bunch of phrases on the left that are examples of violent phrasing or violent language. And then on the right, alternatives that are less violent or more neutral. Now, because Twitter lacks nuance or context, you're going to also see a whole bunch of comments on it, making fun of it, saying it's ridiculous, blah, blah. You'll see all that too, because again, there's no real nuance or context on Twitter, and it's just fun to make fun of things. But I thought it was interesting because in the context of the work we do as massage therapists, I think some of this does apply. Um, so some examples on the violent column, it says things like, we're going to pull the trigger. That's an example of violent language, or I'll take a stab at it. Those types of things. There's some other less overt ones there, but that's a couple examples. So now, the alternative that is less violent might be something like, we're going to launch, or I'll take the first pass at it, or things like that. So I thought it was interesting to think about, because now if you're out, at a restaurant with friends and just chatting, like, I don't think this really applies, very much. But if you're working with a client, you don't really know what that client's history might be. They might have experience with gun violence. They might be a victim in some sort of context. It involves violence in the past. They may have anxiety around certain phrasing and language that can bring up those sorts of feelings, and it could just be an issue for certain clients, I think. So I figure, why not make an effort to use less violent language in an effort to make sure that you create a safe, comfortable space for clients that may have things in their past that we're not aware of that are related to experiencing violence. So I don't know. I think it's worth a look, worth considering. Again, I would approach it with context and nuance, and just rational common sense. But I think it's worth looking at language we use and how can we make it less violent in the right context. So
Okay.
I linked to the image there.
I have something to add here.
Yeah.
Okay, two things. One, this is great. I'm looking at the list because some of these things are like phrases that people might not understand. Like, did we jump the gun? Like, if you've never watched the beginning of a sporting event, like a race, you have no idea what they're talking about. Like, this is one that I also did not know. I mean, I knew it, I learned, but when I was a kid, I remember being like, I have no idea what that means. And then I saw a race one, like the Olympics, on like a swimming thing. And I was like, oh, that's what they mean. They fire a gun. So there's that. So like saying, did we start too soon, is like so much more clear. But also, and probably more importantly, in my daily life, I am surrounded by people who are autistic or have varying neurodivergent issues. And there's a lot of literal thinking. So to say, I'll take a stab at it, like, that's weird to someone who is very, very literal. And to say, I'll take the first pass at it, I'll try this first, is so much more clear. Like, why would you beat a dead horse? What does that even mean to someone with literal thinking? To say, let's not focus on that anymore, let's move on, is so much more clear. And I use a lot of cliche and metaphor and analogy in my speech, and I have learned to not do that quite so much. So this is a really good list, not just to take aggressive and violent words out of our language, but also if you're dealing with a lot of literal thinkers, or even kids, like, just, 4-year-olds are very literal. This is great. And my favorite one on this list, can I say what my favorite one is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so replacing "that'll kill two birds with one stone" with "that'll feed two birds with one scone." I love that.
That one, because one of the examples, I think someone else shared this, and in their example, when they shared, they said they heard someone, a speaker who was giving a presentation for the Audubon Society, and used the phrase
Yep.
"kill two birds with one stone." Like, talk about tone deaf. Like, that's an example of context, right? So
Right, yeah. No, that's my favorite. Walt uses that one. I hadn't heard that until, like, I met Walt, and he uses that one, and I just absolutely love it. So I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm gonna save this little PDF because I think it's really good.
yeah, it's interesting. So
Thank you.
all right. Well, I think that brings us home. Anything you would add?
No, man, I'm
All
done.
right, let's do it. Well, hey, thanks everyone for joining us today. As always, if you're a newer listener, I'll tell you where to find us. If you're a longtime listener, you already know this. It's massagebusinessblueprint.com. That is our website. So if you're not a member yet of our Blueprint Mastermind community, you can learn all about it there. You can join free for 30 days. We reference that a lot. Tons of great benefits in there you can read about. And if you want to email us, the email address is podcast@massagebusinessblueprint.com. So with that, as always, we welcome your feedback. You can email us. We do receive those and respond to them. So we do see everything you send to us. We love feedback. And as always, thanks for joining us today. Have a great day. We will see you next time.
Bye.